Hello everyone, happy Wednesday. If it looks like I'm crying, this is why I was late. I just dramatically stabbed myself in the eye like a few minutes ago and my tears were like pouring down my face. So I apologize for being a little bit tardy. But for those of you that are here, hello, welcome to World of Yoga Wednesday. If you don't know me, my name is Ashley. I'm the yogi next door, and I'm so happy that you're here today. So a little bit of background information. If you've never tuned into World of Yoga Wednesday before, it's where I come on Instagram Live, I always said live, Instagram Live once per week and share a little bit of something about the world of yoga. Now, I originally had something else planned for this week. I was going to be talking about how to create that kind of perfect at-home yoga space, because we're all practicing, pretty much everyone, I think, if not all, places are practicing virtually now. And even if studios are open in your area, you might not feel comfortable yet, as COVID is still around, to be practicing in a studio. So I was just going to give a little information about like what I like to do to set up my perfect at-home yoga studio. And I will be doing that in the future. But I really felt called. This week is kind of all about our focus in our classes, and the information I'm sharing is all about the new moon, the menstrual phase of our menstrual cycle. So all about this time of rest, relaxation. And I shared a post yesterday with kind of my 5 tips for self-care during your period. 5 small things you can do to make your period a little bit more, if not enjoyable, more comfortable, if not even maybe enjoyable even. So I kind of was thinking more and more about the post, and I was like, yes, this is actually what I really feel called to share tomorrow in my World of Yoga Wednesday, which brings me to kind of my main point as we continue on. I'm speaking of, me, myself, and I, my whole yoga company here is myself. So when you send me a message or email or comment, it's always me answering if you didn't realize that, which I'm sure you did realize that, but just in case. But transitioning our World of Yoga Wednesdays into connecting more, which I've kind of already been doing this over the last, I would say, at least 3 to 4 weeks of World of Yoga Wednesday. I've been sharing more so about how we can use yoga to connect with my other passion and focus, which is cyclical living. So from here going forward, our World of Yoga Wednesdays will be more specifically focused, as they have kind of been transitioning to this way anyway, specifically focused on cyclical living and how we can use yoga to connect more with our cyclical life. So I won't talk too much because I have a lot of stuff I want to share today. I'm honestly not 100% sure how long this is going to be, so we'll see. We'll see if anyone hangs around and watches the entire thing. So all of that being said, I'm just going to jump right in, talk about what we are sharing today on World of Yoga Wednesday, and go from there and start sharing everything I've prepared. So this week we'll be talking about how we can use yoga, how we can use our yoga practice, multiple aspects of our yoga practice, to connect with our energy during our period or during our menstrual phase. Or if you're not someone who bleeds or not someone who has a cycle, connecting with that new moon energy of the month, that in connecting with the lunar phases. The new moon is all about kind of turning more internally, more rest, more relaxation, all of those things that we naturally think of when it is our period. So this is for people who are cyclical bodies and who do experience a menstrual cycle, but also for people who just want to live more in tune with the natural cycles. Oh my goodness, you guys. I'm always stumbling over my words in these things. That's all right. You accept me how I am, hopefully. And if you don't, I don't really care. Anyway, side tangent. For people who also want to flow more naturally with the cycles of nature. So with all of that being said, I just want to jump right in and talk about how our yoga practice can support our energy physically, our body's energy, what we might be physically experiencing during our period, and also our mind, what we're energetically experiencing with our thoughts and emotions during our period. So my 5 tips, which I shared kind of yesterday, but getting more in depth today, 5 tips for a better period. 1, comfy clothes. This might sound obvious or stupid or not even important, but when you're relaxed and comfortable in your clothing, this is obviously, I don't need a demonstration for this. I'm literally wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt right now. You guys know what you feel comfortable in. If you feel most comfortable in jeans and a button-up, wear that. It's about getting comfortable in your body, and this is really another small thing that might seem self-explanatory or simple or even stupid. Like, of course I'm going to wear comfy clothes, but it's a small act that we show to ourselves, maybe not even consciously, but that we show to ourselves that, yes, I am honoring where your energy's at. Yes, I'm honoring what you need during this phase. So that's my number 1 tip. Wear comfy clothes when possible. If you have to go to work and have to wear a uniform, you guys have been there. I've had that uniform work life. Maybe when you take that uniform off, getting into the comfy clothes right away. Or when you get home from work, putting on your favorite slippers, or even adding something or taking away something in your work attire that makes it a little bit more comfy. Like, instead of wearing the constricting pants and blazer, maybe you wear a dress that's a little more comfortable in your body. So, obviously this is like very specific information, but you know what you feel most comfortable in. So it's all about tuning in and then actually listening and honoring that to the extent possible. I understand you can't all be yoga teachers in sweatpants all day. Although, wouldn't that be great? All right, so that's my first tip. Kind of obvious, but I think important, like emotionally and mentally as well as physically. Number 2, probably the most important thing on this list, but hard to demonstrate, and that is to schedule time for rest. This is all about prioritizing your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, which I guess is kind of the same as mental, but on a different, deeper note, like telling ourselves that you are worthy even when you're resting. You are worthy when you're not being quote unquote productive. You are worthy even when you need to take a nap. Like, these are things that our society has a really hard time accepting. Definitely someone growing up in Western culture and with my parents, God bless them both. I love them both so much, but they're both super hardworking, really super high achievers. And growing up with that example, it can be really hard to accept that rest is not only permissible, but welcome. So that's a really important big step, especially all throughout the entire cycle, throughout your entire month, throughout every day, getting little moments of rest, but especially during a time like our period or the new moon, because our body is naturally experiencing much lower energy levels than at other times during the month. So, 3rd tip, I'm going to take a little sip of water. I'm running out of breath. Not breath is not the word. My mouth is really dry today. Probably because it is freezing in Chicago and I have the heat cranked up super high. But for my 3rd tip, this is why I'm in the kitchen. I'm actually moving over. So I demonstrated this. If you caught my story a few days ago, I'm going to turn my espresso machine on to heat up, so it might be a little noisy for a second. I actually demonstrated this a few days ago, making a warm, comforting beverage. And there are a lot of natural beverages that are super supportive of your health during your period. So I'm going to be making today my turmeric latte, or it's also called golden milk. Turmeric is beautiful, orange, golden, yellowy orange spice, an Indian cooking that is so many health benefits, but most importantly, in terms of, I know it's super noisy, guys, sorry. In terms of our period, it's a natural anti-inflammatory, so it can help reduce bloating, which I'm pretty bloated today. My period is coming up in a few days. It naturally reduces bloating, naturally promotes so many health benefits, which I shared all about in another post. But as I make this latte, Sorry, I know it's pretty noisy. Hopefully you can still hear me over the noise. Heating up this milk. Obviously, you may or may not have an espresso machine. But you can use a milk frother to heat up the milk, or you can simply heat the milk over the stove in a pan. And you can froth it up by whisking it, by blending it, if you like that extra frothy, like latte type texture that is so awesome. All right, so it's starting to get warm, starting to heat up. But there are also a lot of natural teas, caffeine-free teas that can support your health and your experience during your period. All right, milk's starting to get pretty warm. Give it for like one more second. And then as I make my latte, I'm going to share some information about some teas today. So my recipe for my turmeric latte, can back this up just so you can see a little bit better. So I'm mixing here in my mug. So we want 1 to 2 teaspoons of turmeric. Again, this is really like, this is not technical at all. And you can find a lot of recipes online. This is really just like by your taste, how turmeric-y you like your latte. So I'm adding in agave nectar. You can use maple syrup. You could use honey. This just adds a little bit of sweetness to the flavor. And then I'm going to add in a few dashes of cinnamon. This is just like a regular ground cinnamon. It'd be awesome to do like fresh ground if you are that fancy, if you're feeling bougie. And then I'm going to mix in my heated up milk, my frothed milk. I'm just going to stir this all together just like that. 1, 2, 3. Super simple and easy, guys. And now we have a natural warm beverage that will help us reduce bloating, which helps reduce cramps and just general uncomfortableness during our period. So I also want to share a few other beverages. I think I have like 6 or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different teas. This is 7 apparently. 7 different teas that are really supportive of better period health. So the first one is anything with ginger. Ginger is super helpful in reducing cramps because it's another, again, most of these, if not all, are natural anti-inflammatories. So ginger is great for reducing cramps and also has been proven to reduce bleeding, reduce blood loss in your period. So if you're someone who suffers from super heavy periods, you might want to try ginger and see if it helps actually reduce your blood loss. Okay, let me try my latte and see if it's any good. Ooh, delicious. I think I might want to add a little bit more cinnamon. I love cinnamon flavor if you're not someone big on cinnamon. Another really useful thing to add into the turmeric lattes is black pepper because apparently it improves the efficacy of the absorption of turmeric into the bloodstream. I'm not sure how that works. We'd have to ask a blood specialist or chemist or something. I just know that it does. It does significantly change the flavor, though, as you can imagine. So, personally, I don't like it too much. Let me try that. Ooh, yes, delicious. Okay, so as I was saying, ginger is a wonderful option for tea that can help. Oh, hi, Carolina. So happy you're here. So ginger is great to reduce cramps and even to reduce bleeding. So the second tea is a raspberry leaf tea, also known to reduce cramps, making your period just a little bit less painful, a little bit less uncomfortable. All right, third, we have chamomile, which is probably, I would say, if not one of the most common teas that's on this list. Chamomile is known for reducing anxiety, reducing stress. Again, these are all naturally caffeine-free except for green tea, but you would choose a caffeine-free option for the green tea. But chamomile reduces anxiety. It also helps lower pain. So this is a great tea to drink right before bed because it helps you fall asleep faster and then keeps the pain away throughout the night with your cramps. And also, all of these teas are like proven by studies to be effective. So this isn't just me like, oh, I like this tea. These are actually studied. Maybe I'll link a few articles when I repost the replay for this too. All right, so fourth, we have peppermint tea. Peppermint tea helps boost your mood, but it also is a great pain reductor. So in these studies, they showed that people were drinking peppermint tea. They had the two groups, I think, well, maybe probably a control group as well, a third group. But people were drinking the peppermint tea experienced the same reduction in their pain as the people taking NSAIDs. NSAIDs are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs such as like ibuprofen or Advil. So the peppermint tea actually worked to reduce the pain just as much as taking an ibuprofen would have. So that's pretty cool. Are all for the natural resources that we have instead of putting more toxins and chemicals. NSAIDs are particularly damaging to liver and kidneys, so you don't want to overdo taking those type of pain pills, which is very easy to do on your period if you're someone who suffers from painful cramps or like back pain, headaches, etc. So our next tea that we have, I think it's our fifth one, that's great to support a healthy period, is the green tea. So green tea is a natural diuretic. Again, you want to choose a caffeine-free option because caffeine can actually exacerbate, fancy term, can actually exacerbate your symptoms when you're on your period because it interferes with our hormones. So choosing a caffeine-free option for green tea. So green tea is a natural diuretic, which means it kind of flushes your kidneys. So it naturally is cleansing, removing excess water from your body, which helps reduce bloating, which of course in turn also helps reduce cramps. So second to last, we have fennel tea. Fennel is another spice, again, helps with bloating, helps gas or digestive issues, which is really common around our period. So this can be great for you if you're someone who experiences a lot of discomfort in your stomach, a lot of bloating. I personally have not tried fennel tea before, so I can't speak to the flavor. I feel like it probably is not like the best tasting tea because fennel, I feel like just doesn't sound like a tea for me. Did not mean to rhyme. But I would like to try it because I definitely am someone who like experiences a lot of bloating and gas issues, digestive issues around my period. Finally, we have cramp bark tea. So this, I think it derives from Scotland in England, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But it's a natural muscle relaxant. Hi, Alyssa. So happy you're here. It's a natural muscle relaxant, so it helps reduce cramps. Again, these are all mostly focused on reducing cramps, bloating, and just pain in general. If you're someone who has headaches, backaches, which of course is, related with cramps. But that cramp bark tea, speaking of, got to twist my back a little. Cramp bark tea is a little sip of my turmeric latte. A natural muscle, oh my gosh, my tongue is like orange. A natural muscle relaxant, and so it can help reduce cramps. So moving forward with the next part. So those are all kind of like summing up. Those are all warm beverages. So I think warm beverages are just that natural comfort, bringing some heat and relaxation into your body. If you're someone who like hates hot beverages, you might be thinking like, okay, this sucks because I don't like hot stuff. Well, you can drink these teas in cold form as well. You could drink it in an iced form. Personally, and I think a lot of women I talk to like that cozy, cuddly feeling of a warm beverage, especially when they're on their period. So that's why I went with like the warm beverage. But obviously a lot of these teas, you can brew the tea, set it in the fridge and drink it later. Especially I think would taste best cold would be like the raspberry leaf, peppermint tea, and green tea. Those would all taste great cold if you've never tried them before. I used to always drink this raspberry leaf tea in college. So good. Oh yeah, Alyssa says, like you read my mind, Alyssa. She says, I love red raspberry tea when crampy. Yes, it helps so much. And it's really just naturally sweet and delicious. So moving forward, I'm bringing my latte with me and my notes. We are moving, you're getting a little tour of my house, moving into the living room where we're going to demonstrate 2 different pranayamic practices. So 2 different breathing practices that are supportive of kind of our mental health when it comes to our period. So find a comfortable seat. If you don't feel comfortable sitting on the floor, you can sit in a chair. You can totally sit in a chair, or even like on your bed with your back up against the backboard or the headboard or the wall. But if you are sitting on the floor, just find yourself nice and comfortable. And if you're sitting on a chair, I recommend sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was seeing how long I've been talking. Oh my gosh, 20 minutes already. Okay, I'm not going to take too much longer. Well, that's a lie. I have a lot to talk about still, but you can come back and watch later. If you are sitting in a chair, sorry, I lost my train of thought, kind of scoot toward the edge of the chair, resting your feet so they're firmly planted on the floor, just so you're not doing that natural kind of slumping or leaning back that we tend to do when sitting in a chair. I want you sitting up nice and tall, get comfortable, and just take a few deep breaths to settle yourself into your seat. Maybe let your eyes come closed, helping release your mind from any distractions. We're going to practice 2 different types of breathing, both of which help activate our parasympathetic nervous system. So you might think it is the opposite of that fight or flight response. So we're all pretty, I think, familiar with the fight or flight. When your body senses anxiety or stress, danger, pain, of course, it automatically switches into this fight or flight mode where your body is seeing, do you need to, flee or fight? So these 2 types of breathing are all about the opposite end of the spectrum. These are telling our body that it's safe to let our guard down. It's safe to relax, release. So these both promote lower rates of anxiety, help release stress, which lowers our cortisol levels, help us just kind of let go and release. So the first one we're going to practice is called Chandra Bedana breath. I like to call it moon breath. I don't know if that's an official name, but I feel like I must have seen that somewhere. It's considered the quote unquote feminine breath because it's bringing that cool, calm moon energy that's associated with kind of the female side of energy that we all have in us, whether we're male, female, or don't identify as either. We have all parts of the female and male energy within us. So connecting to this relaxing breath, and it's actually a single nostril breathing. So first, for our hand placement, we'll extend our thumb out to the side, bend all 3 middle fingers into the palm, and extend the right finger out. This is kind of like the hang loose, like Hawaiian hang loose symbol. Our thumb is going to come over the right nostril and pinky will be over the left nostril. So as we start our breathing here, we're inhaling always through the left side and exhaling through the right side. So using our fingers to cover up one side and then the other. So find yourself nice and comfy in your seat. Let's take 2 full breaths through both nostrils to begin, settling in. Your next inhale, use your thumb to cover up the right nostril, inhaling through the left side. The top of the breath, switch fingers, exhale out the right. Our breath is nice and long, slow and deep. Continuing on your own here. Maybe letting your eyes come closed. Letting the soothing effects of this breath wash over you. Let's do once more One more breath. And on your next inhale, release both hands back to the lap. Breathe in through both nostrils and out through both. Continue this full elongated breath for 3 more breaths. And letting our bodies settle in, absorb the efforts of that practice. And releasing it in our mind. You blinking open the eyes if you had your eyes closed. Definitely I'm feeling like a little more zen. Also just slowly breathing, taking nice long inhales and nice long exhales automatically calms the body down. The single nostril breath kind of helps us do that with a little more focus, a little more intentionality. So our next breath is called the Brahmari breath. I'm not 100% sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Brahmari. But translated to English, it's our buzzing bee breath. So this is a little bit strange. Can be a little tricky to get used to, but I'm going to demonstrate to the best of my abilities. Oftentimes you see this cued with the hands placed in different areas of the face. To keep it simple, I'm just going to have us relax our hands in the lap. Let's take a few deep breaths to begin as I explain kind of what we're going for. So this is a buzzing sensation in the front of our face. We're going to keep the lips closed. We're breathing in and out through the nostrils. Naturally let your teeth fall apart from each other in your mouth. So we're not clenching the jaw, naturally relaxing the jaw. Lips are closed. Breathe in through the nose. And as you exhale, hum, so you get that buzzing like a bee sound. I'm going to demonstrate and then I'll invite you to join along with me. So you can choose any tone and pitch that feels comfortable for you. There's no specific note that you need to hit. It can be high, it can be low. And in fact, those notes might give a different quality and vibration. So maybe even experiment with a few different notes. But focus on that nice, long, elongated exhale and the buzzing sensation that you might experience in your lips, nose, cheeks, even forehead and ears. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Maybe they're letting the eyes come closed. Let's do 2 more full breaths. As you release, on your next breath in, releasing that pitch, that tone, and imagine you can still feel the buzz echoing in your face. To stay connected with that nice long exhale. One more full breath here. Release, maybe letting your breath return to its natural rhythm. Maybe even letting out a little sigh, releasing any of that buzzy feeling you feel in the front of the face. Personally, I really feel it more in the lower pitch tones. I feel like a lot of buzzing in my lips, nose, cheeks. A little sip of my latte. So both of these breathing exercises, or pranayama is our yogic breathing practices. Both of these exercises specifically work on reducing stress, reducing anxiety, activating that parasympathetic nervous system, helping us relax, release, all of those good qualities we want to bring when we're having our period, or any time that we're just looking for a little bit of relaxation. So moving forward into kind of the juiciest part of our live, okay, only about 30 minutes, not too bad yet, is our yin yoga. So yin yoga, if you've practiced yoga in the United States or in Western culture, most likely you've practiced a vinyasa or hatha style practice. That's when you're moving quickly through poses, typically one breath, one movement, getting sweaty, heating up the body, and kind of contorting yourself into weird positions. Not weird, strange, unusual, not your everyday positions. Yin yoga, in contrast, we're staying in each pose typically for a few minutes at a time, working on relaxing and releasing. It's actually more from a Chinese historical tradition. And in Vinyasa yoga, you might hear a lot of talk about chakras, or energetic centers of the body. Yin yoga focuses on meridians, which are similarly to chakras, different points of energy throughout the body that you can focus on releasing and relaxing, engaging or activating to help you live with a little more flow, a little more connection, mind to body to spirit. With that being said, obviously, oh no, my battery's dying. Okay, I won't be talking too much longer. But our yin yoga is so great for energetically relaxing and releasing, as well as physically. If you're someone who works out often, this is a great practice for helping get a nice deep stretch in your muscles, tendons, ligaments, connective tissues, etc. It's also so great for a period because naturally, many of these poses are great for relieving a lot of the symptoms we might experience during our period, such as exhaustion, fatigue, cramps, bloating, digestive issues, headaches, all of the above, and many more. So I chose 3 of my favorite poses to do for when I have my period, or just honoring that new moon energy. And all 3 of these poses are great for relieving back pain, relieving cramps. Let's make sure my phone can kind of get a good view here. Might be kind of hard to get a good, might have to do like kind of an angled view here. And relaxation. So first things first is child's pose. You want to get a few pillows and props to make your child's pose nice and comfy. Bring the knees wide, maybe to the edges of your mat or even wider. Big toes come to touch behind you. As you exhale, sit back toward the heels. Begin to walk your arms forward as you release the belly down onto the pillows. Letting your cheek come down. Maybe I should back up a little bit more so you can get like a better view of our child's pose. We're just going to stay here for about 30 seconds today, but normally you could stay here for a few minutes, maybe even like 5-10 minutes, whatever feels good in your body. And as you rest and relax in this pose, stay connected and focused on the breath, noticing your inhale and exhale. Your next inhale, gently rise up to all fours. It's our little demonstration of child's pose, super relaxing, super comforting to release down onto the belly. Our next pose is Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined bound angle, reclined butterfly pose. I have to back up even more because this one's a little bit wider even. And that might be good. We'll see. So we're going to come forward. So we're sitting on our butt. Legs are out in front of us. bring the feet onto the floor, knees just reaching up toward the ceiling. And then bring a pillow under the back, upper back to the head. As you exhale, gently release down onto the pillow. Get nice and comfortable here, making sure you have nice support for your back, your chest, and your head to rest on the pillow. Bring the feet into the center line. As you exhale, release the legs out, open to the sides. Make sure I think I'm pretty much in view. I might angle a little bit this way. Get a nice crotch shot. Sorry about that, guys. Exhaling as we release back onto our supports. If you feel tension here in your inner thighs or too much intensity in this pose, you can bring pillows or blocks underneath the knees here for a little support. And again, we're gonna stay here for just for like 30 seconds, but normally you could stay in this pose for a few minutes. And releasing down, arms can stay along the sides, or maybe draped over the chest, giving yourself a nice little hug. And staying connected with that breath. Focusing on our body, relaxing and releasing. Your next inhale, gently use the hands under the knees to lift the knees back up to upright. Gently remove the pillows or props out from under you as you release all the way down to your back for our final Shavasana pose or corpse pose. We're really just relaxing and releasing our weight into the floor here. And a few props that can make this pose more comfortable anytime, but especially during our period, might be a pillow underneath the backs of the knees for a little more support and release in our low back. Kind of take out my hair clip. Releasing the head down, letting the legs stretch nice and long. I also often like to pull a blanket up over myself for a little bit more comfort and comfiness during my period. Finding yourself nice and comfortable. Take a big breath in through the nose. Open your mouth, exhale, releasing any tension holding on. The most important thing about Shavasana is learning to let go and relax. And again, as we rest in this pose for just a few seconds today, remember that you can do this pose, well, I was going to say a few minutes, but really you can do it for hours, right? You can sleep like this. Your next inhale, begin to wiggle the fingers and toes, bringing some awareness back into the body. Maybe even stretching the arms up overhead. Big good morning stretch. Gently roll over to one side. And then use your hands to guide yourself up to a seated position. That's a nice, safe, easy way to get out of Shavasana pose. But of course, really just following your body in whatever feels best for you. Oh my gosh, my hair is crazy. I'm gonna try to put it back up, but may or may not work. All right, everyone, so those are my 3 favorite poses for my favorite yin yoga poses for when you have your period. Excuse me, this latte is like making me burp. Really focus on relieving back pain, relieving cramps, and relieving bloating, especially for the child's pose. So those are my kind of yogic tips for when you have your period. Again, kind of a recap. Number one is really finding little ways to find comfort throughout your day. One of my favorite ways is getting in comfy clothes. Of course, this depends on what you find is comfortable clothes and depends on like what your expectations are for the day if you have to work, in a uniform like we talked about. But finding little ways to find comfort and peace, physically and emotionally. Second is probably the most important but impossible to kind of demonstrate, and that is making time in your schedule for rest, prioritizing your rest throughout your cycle, but especially during your period or during this new moon energy, because it's when we're feeling the lowest energy throughout the month. Third, we talked about creating those warm, comforting beverages like our turmeric latte that helps relieve bloating and cramps, and all of the different teas that we talked about that help reduce pain for period cramps, improve better digestion, so reducing bloating, and can lower anxiety as well. We then practiced our 2 pranayamic practices, the Chandra Bedana breath or single nostril breathing moon breath, or the Brahmari, I know I'm not saying it right, Brahmari. You guys can correct me on that, please, if I'm saying it wrong. Our buzzing bee or humming bee breath. And then, of course, what we just demonstrated are 3 yin yoga poses to help relieve some of those worst period symptoms. So I hope you guys liked our World of Yoga Wednesday today, all about how our yogic practice can support better period health. I hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday. 45 minutes. Okay, not too crazy, but a little bit longer than I had anticipated. So maybe working on that for next week, trying to keep it around 30 minutes because let's face it, who has attention span for more than 30 minutes? More than 10 minutes, really, but gotta push you guys a little bit here. Everyone have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining. If you are watching, oh, hi, hello. If you're watching live, obviously I'm about to end, so feel free to send me a message after. If you're watching the replay, make sure to comment. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you have other questions or other suggestions for maybe what your favorite practice is during your period. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Wonderful rest of your week. And if you want to learn more, if you're excited to practice or interested in practicing yin yoga, tonight, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Time, we have yin yoga for period relief. Our hour-long practice will be all poses that help relieve some of those worst period symptoms. So specifically cramping, bloating, and exhaustion. Those are kind of my 3 main focus points. And this is a great practice whether or not you are someone who has a cycle or whether or not you even have your period. Now, if you're looking for a little bit of rest and relaxation, the poses are going to feel great in your body regardless, and you will have that nice relaxing quality. And if you're thinking, oh, I really wish she was doing this class next week because I'm going to have my period next week. Well, you can also get the recording. So let me know if you're interested in, you can't join live or you don't want to join live for whatever reason, but you want to see the replay, let me know and I will be happy to explain how we can do that. So everyone have a wonderful day, wonderful Wednesday. Hope to see you later, yin yoga for period relief. And everyone have a wonderful rest of your week. Namaste. Thanks for joining.